On Monday evening, President Donald Trump announced his pick to fill retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy's Supreme Court seat. Trump nominated 53-year-old Brett Kavanaugh, a federal appeals court judge in D.C., and liberal heads began to explode. Then, the Great Reverend Franklin Graham made all the sniveling lefties cry by rubbing salt in their open wounds. According to NBC News, President Donald Trump on Monday nominated Brett Kavanaugh to replace Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court. Trump made the announcement shortly after 9 p.m. ET at the White House, where he was joined by Kavanaugh and his family. Within moments of the historic announcement, conservatives were applauding President Trump's choice. President Trump has made an outstanding decision in nominating Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, George W. Bush said in a statement. Brett is a brilliant jurist who has faithfully applied the Constitution and laws throughout his 12 years on the D.C. Circuit. He is a fine husband, father, and friend, and a man of the highest integrity. He will make a superb justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Karen England, executive director of Capital Resource Institute, echoed the same sentiment, saying, President Trump promised to appoint justices committed to faithfully interpreting the Constitution of the United States as the founders intended, and Judge Kavanaugh's record reflects that commitment. Judge Kavanaugh is a well-tested jurist who has impeccable credentials, unbiased judgment, and deep reverence for the laws and Constitution of the United States. We applaud President Trump for this excellent pick. We are hopeful that Judge Kavanaugh will uphold the First Amendment and the original public meaning of the Constitution. The reaction to Monday night's announcement, which seemed to anger liberals the most, however, came from Reverend Franklin Graham, who can always be counted on to tell it like it is. President Donald J. Trump has kept his word. Again, he promised the American people that if he had the opportunity, he would nominate conservative justices to the U.S. Supreme Court, and he's done just that, Graham wrote on Facebook. CNN said it was the Supreme Court pick for the ages. Congratulations to Judge Brett Kavanaugh on this monumentally important nomination. Those on the progressive, socialist left are of course already enraged, added Graham. Another conservative justice threatens their agendas and the direction they were trying to push this country. They are rallying their forces and had begun protesting even before the announcement was made. We need to thank God for this long-awaited opportunity to change the makeup of the U.S. Supreme Court, and we need to be faithful to pray for Judge Kavanaugh and his family during the very intense confirmation process. The 2016 presidential election was monumentally important for a slew of reasons, not the least of which was the Supreme Court. President Trump has already chosen 2 new justices to preside over the highest court in the land, and both of them will hold their seats for decades to come. It is likely that Trump will get to nominate a 3rd judge before his term is over. Now, imagine if Hillary Clinton had been the one deciding who would fill Justice Kennedy's shoes. No doubt, we'd have ended up with another Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But with Kavanaugh on the bench, the Supreme Court will be decidedly conservative for years. This is another promise kept by President Donald Trump and a reason for the American people to breathe a huge sigh of relief.